So here's my tackle setup. I'm fishing Lahontan Cutthroat near my home in Eastern Washington, and these 3 rods are going to be what my son and I are using today. We're fishing in a 25 on the fly tournament, and we're waiting for the opening bell, so we got a little time to kill. So the first setup that I use very commonly is going to be a clear tip intermediate line. This one is a Rio streamer tip, and I like to stock these flat shoals. These alkaline lakes like the one I'm on today have a nice firm bottom throughout most of it, and so I can just walk the shore, and I really enjoy that. So generally for me, the way I like to fish, the clear intermediate tip is enough, and then I run pretty light tippet, and I don't use a tapered leader on that. I run about 7 feet of 4X tippet, and there are lots of swimming mayfly nymphs, damsels, water boatmen, and such, and what I like is a little attractor. And I realize this isn't going to be in perfect focus, but that is a partridge soft hackle that's on there, and I tie that on a loop knot so that wiggles around. And I'll put a link in the video description, but that's kind of an old school fly. I think it works really, really well for a large variety of these stillwater aquatics. So I'll use that on the shallow edges, especially when it's cloudy like this. Will you hold that one, buddy? Especially when it's cloudy like this. We've been seeing cruisers up in the shallows right here. If it were bright sunny conditions, I'd probably have to get down a little bit deeper, and that's where I've got a 7 weight. This happens to be a Sage Maverick, and I've got a sink tip. I've got a Sonar Titan sink tip, and I fish a lot of these ledges. I more often fish on foot here than I do a boat. I know when you're fishing from a boat, that full sinking line is a really, really big advantage. I'm using a sink tip, but the system I have on this is pretty similar. A really long piece of 4X fluorocarbon. There's not a lot of stuff for the fish to snag me up in here, so there's not a lot of trees and whatnot. So the 4X tip, it works just fine for these fish. They don't have any current as an advantage. And then on this one, I'm going to get down a little bit deeper, and I've got a Mare's jig head mini leech on that one. It's just a tremendous fly. But I like the 7 weight for the sink tip when I'm going to get out a little bit deeper, and when it's windy. When it's windy and I have a lot of wind currents on the surface, that wind is going to constantly be bowing or bellying that line around, and that sink tip just kind of anchors me in and gets it underneath all those surface currents, and I get a much straighter presentation. Let me hand that one off, and we'll go to this one. This is a 9-foot 5 weight Sage Sonic, and when I see these fish start moving in, and a lot of times I will fish 2 rods myself. My older son is going to be fishing one of them today, but I will keep my extra rod just right there a lot of the time. So if I see these fish, if I'm away from my vehicle, a lot of times I don't have time to go get a second rod. I don't have time to pull a spool off and do all that. So I'll just keep one rod pinched right in there, and it works pretty good. I've done that on saltwater wading trips quite a bit as well. But this setup here, I can do a variety of different things with it, but primarily this is going to be a suspended midge rig. I can put mayfly nymphs on here too, but I keep a little tiny piece of indicator yarn, New Zealand style. I actually have that overhand knotted. I didn't even use the tool. 5X fluorocarbon on this, and there's a variety of midge and calabatus hatching right now, and I'm just using one of my river nymphs. I actually like it because it sinks and suspends right under my indicator really fast, and I'll actually just let that hang in front of the fish, and then just even the few bits of chop in here will help undulate that nymph a little bit under that indicator. So that's my tackle setup for fishing Lahontans in this lake. There are definitely other strategies, but I try to keep it pretty simple. And like I said, I do most of my fishing in this lake because it has a pretty good wading structure along the bottom, and I can walk these reaches, and in the morning when it's calm, I can see the fish and sight cast to them. Yeah, nice big one here. So a lot of these fish are right in the shallows today. I tried my heavier sink tip, but I kept snagging up, and I'm using that real light intermediate tip with that little tiny partridge soft hackle. It's a small fly. It's like a number 16. But man, those trout, they tackle that swimming mayfly nymph. It is so exciting when they pick that strike up. It is just such a cool thing. So I'm gonna see if I can't get him in the net here without that hook coming free. And
that's a nice one.
That is a nice one. Let's just show this fish off here. Beautiful Lahontan cut in this just absolutely gorgeous lake. You know, I river guide a lot. And sometimes I forget just how many cool fisheries I have near my house here. My boys and I just left the house this morning, and they've never fished here before. We've driven by it before, but never brought my boys here. We just decided, hey, let's go do this. Let's check this fish out. Beautiful Lahontan, nice big one. Let's keep him wet. Let's get a nice zoom in there. Show him that fly, Jake. Absolutely gorgeous Lahontan cutthroat. That is awesome.